Thank you so much, Rachel, for being here with me and being willing to share your incredible experience on our recent EFT training. So you were one of the participants and you were very brave, and with a demo for our physical issue demonstration, and you came with a back pain, and I will let the audience see what happened. But before I show them this incredible video clip of your experience, perhaps you can share a little bit about how you came to have this pain. And you mentioned you did personal training, so would you be willing to say a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. It was easy for me to relate the pain to a previous pain that I'd had on a long distance hike. I'd experienced the exact same pain. The pain, I could describe it being like a spasm where I would do a certain movement and I would get locked into a position. And one day leading up to the training, it started for no real apparent reason. I just got out of bed and I noticed that I'd locked, and it is a winding feeling. It took my breath away. And it's easy for me now on reflection to see where that had come from. And it was this kind of not feeling supported because my wife, who usually does everything with me, including an EFT tapping course, she would have loved to have been on it. It's only for the fact that she had to go and be somewhere else for the time that she was actually going to leave me at the course. And I felt like I wasn't being supported, but I didn't know that at the time. So I came to the course and I remember sitting in the chair on the first day and having to turn my whole body to talk to the person next to me. And then I was just kind of in this rod position, not being able to take in as much as I wanted because I was just so focused on the pain.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I think that's really, really interesting, having that realization of not feeling supported. And of course, often back pain is to do with lack of support. So that's interesting. And then I think it was on the second day you volunteered to be the demo. And I just remember you shuffling up to the seat at the front. And I was thinking, gosh, what are you going to bring? You look like you can't move very much. And of course, it was this back pain. And I think we did about 15 minutes of tapping. And then you had this moment of what I would call revelation, of that realization that the pain had disappeared. And as I was saying to you off camera, I don't think I've witnessed such a powerful moment of that suddenness of realization that the pain has gone. And because of that, I really wanted you to come on and talk about it. And thank you so much for being willing to share the recording of that moment, which I'm going to attempt to show now.
I just twisted. I have to say that, like, when you came to sit up here, you were like so rigid, and you look like softer.
Yeah, I feel softer, and I just twisted to see everyone, and that doesn't hurt.
Oh my God!
I'm not even joking. Like, I can move. That is incredible. That is actually incredible. Oh my God.
Wow. How did that feel watching it back just now?
It took me straight back there. And like I said to you before, I am quite an expressive person, but even that caught me off guard because I had been so cautious because I have memories of when it first happened to me when I was hiking and how much pain I was in. And any kind of movement would just make it so much worse. So I was being very cautious. So to be able to doing this was what would actually cause that tightness to happen. It was amazing to be able to turn around. But when I did this, I was like, nothing is there. And it took my brain a couple of seconds to think, what is that from? That's from tapping. And that's what made me cry, is because, like, I'm on this course to learn about something so special and magical, and I've just felt the effects firsthand, and that's what made me emotional.
Oh, yeah, that it was a really, really special, beautiful moment. So, what would you say on a scale from 0 to 10 the pain was at the start?
I would have given it a really good 9. It was high.
And at that moment, when you were twisting, what was the pain level at that point?
I had 0 pain, 0, a complete 0.
And that was after like 15 minutes. I mean, that is just absolutely incredible. And how long did that pain-free feeling last, would you say? Because I think you said it came back at some point.
It did. I would say it lasted, and I think after lunchtime, I had realized that, oh, there was a little bit still there, but I was still able to move. And what I was able to do with that is be able to introduce some stretching, which I know very well. Being a yoga teacher, I know what I needed to do. And that kind of initial relaxation of my body helped to introduce stretching again, which I was very cautious of doing beforehand. I knew I had to do it, but I didn't want to until the relaxation came in. So it helped with that.
Thank you. And when the pain came back a little bit, maybe another aspect of the pain came in. So just for those of you watching, just because pain comes back, it doesn't mean that EFT hasn't worked. It just means that another aspect has emerged that needs to be released. So that's also useful to remember, that if the pain comes back, just be curious as to what else you can work on. And then I think it was about 3 weeks later you came back to do the level 2 training. And how was the pain during level 2?
I had no pain. And that in between level 1 and 2, I was doing daily tapping, not completely on my back, because after level 1 had finished, the pain had gone. So I didn't feel it necessary to continue tapping on that, tapping on anything and everything that was coming up was just keeping me so calm and relaxed. Like, I even said to my wife, on the way home from level 1, I had to get 3 trains by myself and walk an hour through central London to catch the train all by myself. And I hadn't done that before. And I said to her when I got to the train, it felt like all of the busyness was happening around me, and I was just floating above everyone else. And all of the traffic light, all of the walking lights seemed to be going green for me. And I just had a big smile on my face. And I couldn't believe that was me doing that. I felt so calm.
That is beautiful. That's incredible. I got tingles as you were saying that. So thank you for sharing that. And you mentioned that the time before that, when it happened for the first time, was when you were hiking. What happened that it suddenly started being painful?
We had covered a good few 100 miles of the Southwest Coastal Path, and we were in St. Ives. And we'd put our tent up and we were doing our usual yoga routine. So it never has hurt my back before, ever. And just as I was transitioning through the moves, I got stuck. It's the best way I could describe it. I was winded and my back just went into full spasm and locked in place. And events carried on after that, which was an uncomfortable place to be in. It was getting cold and dark, and I was just laying on the floor. But on reflection, it was linked to a conversation that we were having earlier on the hike about not feeling supported. Both of us weren't feeling supported in a certain area of our life. And that's what enabled me to make the link the second time was, hang on, where am I not feeling support in my life? Yeah. So it was kind of a whoa moment. Yeah.
Incredible, incredible. And when you think back to that moment on that hike, the pain in your back then, and not feeling supported in that area of your life, what's the remaining intensity of that event?
I managed to use the second half of the day on level 1 to tap through those events, which was so helpful, because I could find the root of where I first felt it, and then whoever I was working with guided me through really well. I think we did movie title and then tell the story, and we got so far and I was able to tell the story without any intense, because like I said to you, there was things afterwards, like I was lying on the floor, people were watching, they weren't helping, I was on the floor and I was in pain. But as I'm telling you now, there's no emotion behind it, it's just something that happened. So I would say that it's clear, it's a 0. Yeah.
That is amazing. That's really incredible. And were you aware of any beliefs that were created as a result of that experience on the hike? Any beliefs about yourself, about your back, about being supported?
Yeah, a few were created in that moment. One of them, I genuinely just said to myself, I'm not strong enough, because I'm watching my wife carry a heavy backpack. I'm carrying the same backpack and my back hurts and hers doesn't. So yeah, I created the belief that I wasn't strong enough. I also created the belief that people were unkind and weren't willing to help, and was a strong one, because I was watching other people in their camper vans and their tents watch me struggle without offering help. So that was a big one.
And how true does it feel now, I'm not strong enough, on a scale from 0 to 10?
I'm not strong enough. It just doesn't resonate. I'd have to say a 0, because there's no resonance there for me. No.
And what about people are unkind? How true does that feel?
That wore off very quickly, actually, because on other parts of the hike, we noticed the kindness in people when we were struggling at different points. And we'd noticed the kindness in strangers taking us into their home, giving us tea. So that was quite quickly rectified. I know, they were very kind. That was
That's
sorted out straight
amazing.
away.
That's amazing.